Hi everyone, Al DeMarco here, and this is going to be your Monday video report. 71, 55, and 3 run with the free picks, despite Sunday's god-awful selection on Kansas. Yeah, that was a good pick, wasn't it, as a freebie? 11.5 point favorite, losing outright to VCU. Free selection tonight, however, coming in the NBA as I take a look at the Milwaukee-Charlotte contest. The Bucks and the Bobcats chasing the Indiana Pacers for the final playoff berth in the Eastern Conference race as the NBA season winds down in its final few weeks. Also, a little insight on the Orlando-New York game as the Knicks and the Magic square off at Madison Square Garden for the second time in less than a week. Also going to recap how the Elite Eight did in terms of ATS performances and how the entire Big Dance has broken down as we head into the Final Four next week from a point spread perspective. A quick story for you. You've got to admit, you never know what I'm going to be saying on these videos, and hopefully they'll be entertaining sometimes. But no more than 15 minutes ago, and granted, it's like 3 a.m. in the morning right now as I'm handicapping and I'm doing this report for you. I happened to finally read Friday's USA Today. And in their entertainment section, they had a story about Tony Bennett, 85 years old, doing his second duets album. Last one he did 5 years ago when he was 80, blah, blah, blah. Now, Tony Bennett, not my cup of tea, okay? Just have to be up front with you. But here's the funny story. This is, I want to say like 1988, 1989, somewhere around then. I'm down in Baltimore. Used to always go down to Baltimore at the time. I was living in Philadelphia. Used to go down and catch the Orioles games all the time. Those were the days they were still playing Memorial Stadium, where literally, if it was a 7:35 start, at 7:30 I'd usually arrive. I hit my favorite scalper. I'd end up with tickets sitting with the players' wives. I mean, that's how easy it was. And I probably was paying, back in those days, I bet you a ticket was $20-25 to sit 2-3 rows off the field with the players' wives. I can't tell you how many times I sat next to or in front of or behind Nancy Lopez and talked to her because, of course, her husband was Ray Knight playing for the O's at the time. But always used to go down and hit Little Italy in Baltimore, down by the harbor area. So one night at an Italian restaurant with my then fiance, now my wife, and we're sitting there at this restaurant, and they've got all these pictures up on the wall of famous celebrities that had come into the restaurant over the years. And my wife points up to this one, and you can tell it's a picture from the 60s, black and white picture. This guy with kind of a receding hairline, big nose, blah, blah, blah. And she says, "Who's that?" I said, "Oh, that's Tony Bennett." And she says, "Tony who?" My wife isn't actually a lover of the classic singers, okay? But we go on and we eat. I'm telling you, no more than 10 minutes later, I look over to my right, and there is Tony Bennett coming in with this younger lady and sitting down and having dinner right next to us. And I tell my wife, I said, "That guy up on the wall, here he is, he's right here, Tony Bennett." And I'm going, what are the chances of that happening? I mean, seriously, what are the chances? But anyway, that's your funny story for today. Elite Eight favorites. Well, they sucked. They went 1-3 last year against the spread. They went 1-3 this year against the spread. Kentucky was the only winner. Overall, the tournament has certainly gone to the dogs, as the Puppies are 33-24 against the spread. More importantly, those 33 covers by the Puppies, 22 of them have won outright. Double-digit favorites, 10-6 so far in the tournament after Kansas bit the dust yesterday. So there you go. There's your update, and we won't talk anymore about the Big Dance until the Final Four comes around next weekend. Now let's turn to the NBA. A lot of sentiment to back the Orlando Magic tonight at New York, laying a point and a half. But I'm telling you, I look at this game and it seems so easy to take the Magic, but maybe it's a trap here. And here's why I say this. First of all, you've got a Knicks team that is desperate, a team that's lost 6 in a row in 9 of its last 10 games, including a 111-99 decision at home to the Knicks, to the Magic just last week. And here they are again, as I pointed out earlier, playing at Madison Square Garden. But not only are the Knicks a desperate team needing a win, but Orlando a little banged up here at the moment. Jameer Nelson, who's averaged 18.3 points in 3 games and 3 wins against the Knicks this season for the Magic, is doubtful for the contest. That means Agent Zero, who basically produces nothing but zeros when you look at his box score, it seems, his line score in the boxes lately, that being Gilbert Arenas, will most likely start at point guard. Chris Dillon probably, doing the backup duties, the former Knick. You've got J.J. Redick out for this game. You've got Quentin Richardson out for this game. You've got Jameer Nelson probably not going to be playing in this game. So Orlando is a little short here. Now, you've got Chauncey Billups most likely going up against Gilbert Arenas. I don't know. I kind of like my odds there. I mean, listen, Amari definitely struggled last week against the combination of Dwight Howard and Brandon Bass, misfiring on 14 of his 20 shots. Now, I know Dwight Howard has made a career out of owning the Knicks here. I mean, in 3 games this year against them, he's averaged 33 points. Jesus, I mean, in his career against them, he's averaged like 26 points, shot like 67%, and averaged 14 rebounds. And the Magic have won 6 in a row in this series. But again, I think it's a trap in this contest. Just my advice, that's what I think on the game. The free pick, however, is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks, a team obviously in a must-win situation, getting a point to point and a half at Charlotte. Now, the Bobcats suddenly, after losing 10 to 12 games, have come up with a couple of big wins. They go to Boston, overcome a 13.4 quarter deficit, and upset the Celtics like as a 13.5-point road dog on Friday night. Then they come back home, and they take care of business against the New York Knicks, beating them pretty easily, 114 to 106. Meanwhile, the Bucks go to New York, beat the Knicks on Friday night at the Garden, win that game easily, 102 to 96. Then they come back home, and they blow a 16-point lead against the Chicago Bulls. I'm sorry, it was a 15-point lead to the Chicago Bulls, and lose again 95-87. This whole month, the games that they have lost, they've had leads. They just can't hold them in the fourth quarter. But in this particular game, I think they have the matchup advantage. They have more scores. Listen, Bobcats are certainly offensively challenged, even though Steven Jackson's back in the lineup. I like the way Brandon Jennings has been playing here of late. Bogut has been playing great at the center spot. So again, I'm going to go ahead and take Milwaukee as the slight road dog here, even though the Bucks have lost 3 in a row at Charlotte, because I'm still not convinced that the Bobcats, those wins over a Boston team that obviously led up, just like the Celtics did yesterday against Minnesota, nearly blowing all the 25-point lead, and against the New York Knicks team that was playing its second game in as many nights and coming off a home loss to these Milwaukee Bucks at Charlotte on Saturday, losing that one, their 6th in a row. Again, I think those 2 wins, they're sketchy at best. So I'm going to go with Milwaukee as your freebie. Good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you again on Tuesday morning.